Hello friends, welcome. Friends, while I was going through the newspapers in the morning, I came across this interesting headline which is about PLI scheme. You know what is PLI? It is Production Linked Incentive, which is to promote manufacturing within the country. Now, this headline is saying PMO holds back approval for new sectors, means it doesn't want PLI to be extended to new sectors, tenure extensions. Now, if you look at this article further, it says that proposal for schemes for toys, footwear put in cold storage, term extension plea for solar panel rejected, right? And then it kind of goes on to give further details of the PLI scheme as to what is going on down below. Now, friends, I have been following PLI scheme from the very beginning when the scheme started, and I had written many articles to give you the foundation to understand that why this scheme came into being and what was the main international compulsion that India had to come out with this scheme, because the earlier schemes were different and this scheme is totally different in line with the WTO contract or the agreement India has signed. Now friends, the purpose of this article is to give you background as to why this headline has come and why PMO holds back approval for new schemes. And this I am planning to do with hardcore data, as I always do. So I will break this into two different compartments, this video in two compartments. What the existing scheme for electronics have achieved, right? Because I am going to focus on electronics, and why the PMO holds back new scheme for electronics. That's the whole objective of this video would be to give you a very good flavor as to what is going on, right? And what we have accomplished. Now friends, before I get into the details of the PLI scheme, what we have accomplished as regards electronic manufacturing is concerned, I would like to give you another, show you another headline, which again was published on 9th February 2025, which is recently, right? Yesterday. Now it says that PLI for electronic manufacturing attracted 10,000 plus crores of investment, minister, and it says that there is a cumulative production of 6.62 lakh crores, and there has been a direct employment of 1.37 lakh crores. Now friends, there are two numbers here. Actually, there are three numbers. One is investment, another is production, another is jobs. So what I am going to do is that I am going to show you what is this investment all about, how it relates to the overall investment that India is seeing in various other aspects of sectors. What is the cumulative production is all about, right? And we are not going to talk about jobs because I have no view as to what the job sector currently is, because I have no way to get any data. Right, so I'm going to focus on this and this. Okay, so let's go step by step. First, let's understand the allocation in the budget as to what kind of allocation the PLI scheme, as far as electronics are concerned, has been made in the budget. So this is a dashboard which I have uploaded in my website, which gives you various PLI schemes for all ministries. But I am going to focus on Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology, because that is where the main electronic PLI, production link incentive for subsidies for production link incentive for the electronic sector is concerned, is there. There are two ministries. One is the Ministry of Information Technology, another is the Department of Telecommunication. Now, if you look at this chart, let me just zoom out a bit, you will find that there has been a trend of increasing allocation in the Ministry of Information Technology's budget. See, if you look at the FY25 budget, the budget estimate was 6,200 crores. It has been revised to 5,777 crores, and the current budget allocation is 9,000 crores. Similarly, if you look at Department of Telecommunication, it was 1,911 crores and it was revised to 1,540 crores, and now it is 2,006 crores, right? Now friends, this is the allocation, right? Now let's look at what we have accomplished as regards PLI scheme from the point of view of containing foreign exchange. Means how much exports have gone and how much imports we are making in the electronic sector. That is going to give you a flavor as to whether any saving we have accomplished from the point of view of our trade, which is trade in merchandise. Because one of the major goal of production link incentive was to promote exports, and it was promoting exports to contain imports. Means there has to be a net gain in foreign exchange that India was supposed to make. Right? It is not just about investment. It is not just about employment, because when somebody is investing in our country, it is not that it is going to do some peanut employment and it will continue to keep spending foreign exchange outside our country. Means foreign exchange is going to flow out of our country, because that does not give us any leverage worldwide, because we want to conserve foreign exchange so as to increase the demand for rupee, not for dollar. That's why the rupee is depreciating, right? So let's look at this and let's understand what is going on. Now, first chart that is in front of you, which you see here, is let me just go to import first. So this is basically a chart which gives you a trend of major category of Indian export in dollar billion. Now, if you look at this chart, the first portion of this chart in the time scale of financial year, you'll see that this is showing you the exports in $1 billion for various financial year, FY24 and FY25. The financial year is not complete, therefore the number is showing less. Sorry, imports, right? Imports. Now, these are the imports, right? So you will see that the imports as regards billions of dollars have been steadily increasing since FY21. See, it is increasing. There is a dip in FY24. We don't have the final number for FY25, right? So there has been an increase. So which items have contributed to increase imports? That is what we need to understand. One is petroleum, right? So petroleum has gone up, and then you see petroleum is a significant part of the import. And the next item, as far as imports are concerned, is electronics, and it has been steadily increasing, right? If you see here, it has been steadily increasing since FY21, and this year's number 61.2 is incomplete, therefore we don't know what the final number would be. Now, if you want to get a flavor as to what is as a percentage of total, then you will be able to see that crude and petroleum, if you look at the crude and petroleum items, it is a percentage of total is roughly around 26%, and electronic item is around 13%, right? It is steadily increasing. See, from FY23, from 10.3%, it is being steadily increasing to 13%. So our imports should have been conserved, right, with PLI, but it is not that, there was a slight dip here as a percentage of total import, and then suddenly it has increased. So there is a clear-cut understanding that electronic item imports have actually increased with PLI. It has not decreased. The data speaks for itself. Now let's look at exports, right, which will give you another flavor of what is going on. Now, as far as export is concerned, there is a direct increase in exports. As far as electronic item is concerned, you can see that there is a ramp up of exports which is happening. Now, if exports are increasing and imports are also increasing, what does it tell you? It tells you that we are importing and we are exporting the same item. Means we are actually not adding any value locally within our country. That's all it is telling you. So whatever investments are being made, there is no local value add happening in significant terms. Otherwise, if you go to the deficit part of this chart, right, you will see that the deficit as far as PLI of electronic is concerned is kind of going on increasing, right? If you see this item, it was 56.2, right, billion in FY22, and then it was $50.8 billion in FY23, $55.7 billion in FY24, and the current year number is not complete. So the PLI should have actually conserved electronic export, and contain deficit, right? Sorry, conserve electronic import and in the process contain deficit. But this is not what the reality is. It's very clear from here that the deficit as far as PLI is concerned is kind of in an increasing trend, which is very clear from this data. Now let's look at the items where the exports are increasing and where the imports are increasing on a component level, which is important for us to understand. So this is the export chart. If you look at this dashboard, let the dashboard get refreshed. Just to give me a minute. Yeah. So sorry. Let me just go to first export. Right. Let's go to export first. So you will see that when I go to export, you'll find that all focus is on smartphone. That's all. Because this starts from April 2024 till November 2024. And the focus is only on smartphone. In this 8 months, right? 8 months, we have exported $13.083 billion of smartphone. But rest of the items, there hasn't been any significant export. See, nothing. Even photovoltaic cell assembly modules, there hasn't been any significant increase in export. Even within these 8 months, we have hardly done, not even $1 billion. It is just $250 million, $750 million, not even $1 billion, right? And that is why, if you look at this item, extension plea of solar panel rejected, right? Because we are not doing any kind of meaningful exports other than smartphones. Rest of the items are very, very low. Now, let's do one more thing. Let's do percentage of total. Now, a percentage of total, if you do, you will find that's the total export as far as smartphone is concerned. And let me just do a yearly time scale, which will give us a very good flavor, because smartphones we started exporting smartphone from FY23, onwards. Actually, before that also, but we just have categorized smartphone in a different HS code. So you'll see that over a period of time, it has gone much beyond 50%. The latest percentage as far as smartphone exports are concerned, it is 61.27% of our total export. Imagine, more than 60% smartphone we are exporting, right? Rest we are nothing, no exports, of any significant items. Now let's do imports. Then you will understand what is going on as far as imports are concerned. Now let's do first the monthly time scale, and then we will do the yearly time scale. And we will do actual value, right? So you will find that all that is required to make smartphones, the monolithic integrated digital circuits, the other, this basically contains the components, and laptop is a separate category altogether, memories, all are increasing, in absolute terms as well as in percentage terms, right? So let's do an yearly time scale so as to give you a flavor as to what is going on as far as imports of electronic components are concerned. Now you will notice that we have been increasing on a periodic, on a sustained basis as far as component this is concerned. If you look at this, you'll find that the total imports as far as electronic components are concerned, broken down into different HS category, has been increasing. And this year, this FY25 number is not complete. Therefore, we are only seeing $60 billion. So all that, which is required to make a finished product, we are continuously keep on importing. So there hasn't been any impact on any of the item, especially the integrated circuit, the memories, all have been increasing like hell, right? So there hasn't been any significant. Now let's look at the balance of payment. The balance of payment is very, very important to look at, because one of the major objectives of our production link incentive as far as electronics are concerned is to conserve balance of payment and make our current term deficit as low as possible. Now let's look at the current account deficit. In the current account deficit, I have done a yearly time scale. You will find that our current account deficit has been on a decreasing trend since FY24. If you look at this number, it is minus 26.12, and in FY25 it is not complete yet. Year is not complete yet. It is only 2 quarters. It is minus 20.43. In FY23, the number actually has increased to 67.05. But merchandise, which is goods, the deficit has been continuously increasing on merchandise. You see that? And as I told you, electronic items actually is the second in category as far as deficit is concerned. So there has been a significant increase in deficit on account of merchandise, and where we are basically saving is services. You see, services. Services is where is bailing us out, right? Services. Because if services were not there, then our current account deficit would have gone out of hand. So all that we are spending as far as PLI is concerned is further making services, the contribution from services, worse. Otherwise, the situation would have been better, right? Which means that we are not able to constrain imports of electronic items. Now let's look at another segment, right? As to what is going on as far as our revenue receipts are concerned and our expenditure is concerned. Now, if you look at is a percentage of GDP, I have main account, right? All the account items, if the budget was just released, and I have captured the expenditure part, the revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. And it is important to look at the revenue and capital expenditure. Now, if you see that the revenue expenditure, the government is pushing very hard to bring the revenue expenditure as a very low percentage of GDP, because that is right thing to do to reduce fiscal deficit and not to create sustained burden on the economy, because we have to bring down our revenue expenditure, which does not result in further cash flow or value. We have to increase our capital expenditure, but the capital expenditure and percent of GDP has got stagnated, which is a very bad sign, right? Because capital expenditure where we should be focusing on, but if you look at this line item, you'll find that the capital expenditure has become stagnated as a percentage of GDP, whereas revenue expenditure is decreasing, and we are pushing revenue expenditure down in order to contain our fiscal deficit low. Because fiscal deficit is one of the main indicators as to how our budget is doing as far as performance is concerned, whether we are able to conserve our spend on borrowing, because borrowing result in what? Huge amount of interest payment, and we are not able to contain interest payment, which is a significant part of where is interest payment? Sorry, interest payment is here, which is a significant part of the GDP. It is as large as our capital expenditure. Can you see that? Now let's look at which of the items are of concern as far as revenue expenditure is concerned, right? Let's look at that, because revenue expenditure is where the subsidies are going, right? That is where the focus should be. You look at this interest payment, which I told you, 12.73 lakh crores. And then if you go down below, you will find this is what? This is budgetary estimate, right? Let's do percentage of GDP. B as a percentage of GDP, that will give you a flavor. So interest payment is still, very, very high. We are trying to reduce our revenue expenditure in other items. You see that it is going down, right, as a percentage of GDP. Let's go to the two ministries that we are focusing on. One is DOT. See, DOT also the revenue expenditure is being pushed down below. And then we have the other ministries, the Ministry of Mighty. You see, revenue expenditure as a percent of GDP is going high. So this number is not that significant. 20,000 crores revenue expenditure, the Ministry of Information and Technology, if you see, 20,000 crores or 26,000 crores of revenue expenditure is not a large amount, right? But PLI actually forms a very significant component of this value, but the PLI is leading to not very optimal spend. There are other items where the spend has to happen, like the AI mission, right? The National Information Center, R&D, where money is required. You can't spend all the money in PLI, and that is where the stress is coming as far as electronics is concerned. Now let's look at one more dimension to it, and we have to again go to the balance of payment document or sheet of the dashboard. Here what we will do, we'll go to the investment part. That will give you a sense as to how much investment is coming in India as regards to this production link incentive for the point of view of electronics. For that, you have to go to this line item, and you will see that this is in billions of dollars and in the scale of financial year, right? So in FY25, foreign direct investment in India was around $26.18 billion, right? And in FY25, it's 2 quarters, $15.7 billion, right? This is foreign direct investment, not portfolio investment. Now, if you look at this item, which says that electronic manufacturing attracted 10,213 crores of investment minister. this has to be a cumulative investment. It can't be an investment in 1 year. Which means that when you go to the balance of statement part, and if you look at all these items, let's look at from the period of FY22. So you'll see that there has been a huge amount of investment which has been made in India in other than electronic sector, right? 56, 42, 26, and 15. So if you add everything together, it is definitely going to be more than 130 billion dollars, out of which PLI is just 1.2 billion dollars, not more than that, right? Not even 1.2, maybe 1.1 billion dollar. 10,000 crores is not a big deal, right? And if you look at the investment from India, right? This is in India, right? And then you look at investment in abroad, because going out of India, which is basically a lot of investment is flowing out of India, and therefore the net foreign investment is not rising significantly. So friends, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you look at all these aspects to summarize this whole thing, and let's go back to the headline which we saw, which started this whole discussion. PLI scheme, PMO holds back approval. What does it mean? It basically means that the PMO has started realizing that we are not able to unlock value as far as PLI scheme is concerned, which I have been saying from the very beginning, that unless local value gets generated in India as regards these investments, and we are able to contain deficit on the electronic items, on which we are focused all our, because PLI scheme started with electronic items, and we are not able to attract huge investment because 10,000 crores is a peanut compared to a cumulative investment, then the point is very clear that why would PMO start giving, blanket approval to all other schemes, which is, even the existing schemes are not generating that kind of value. From the point of view of investment, which I have already said that this 10,000 crore is a very small amount compared to all other investment, and from the point of view of cumulative production, because this cumulative production makes no sense, because you have to see this with the cumulative imports and trade deficit. Because what is the point of having this production when this is not generating any value? Because most of our PLI schemes are for exports. That's why we basically laid the foundation for PLI. And if production is only leading to exports, leading to imports and increased trade deficit, then this does not mean anything. Only thing that means is direct jobs. Now you have to basically see that how much value that you are able to see in this direct job compared to the amount of money that has been investment, and how much value we are able to unlock through this scheme, right? So that's all, friends. I wanted to do this video to give you a flavor. All these charts which I've showed you are hard data. It's all there available in my website, and I'm going to paste the links of these charts in the description of this video. And if you are interested, you can go and see for yourself what is going on, right? Thank you, friends, for your time. I'll come back with a new video next time. Thank you very much.